Hi everyone, my name is Kat. I have been working with the Tiller team to develop this travel planner for everyone to use. It is a way for us to look at spending a little bit more in granularity. So in the past, historically, the way that I have tracked my travel spending is really just setting a budget amount for the year, really at the end of the year, looking back at where I've spent, where I've overspent, and I've really just had my separate spreadsheet on the side. So with submitting my grant idea, I thought it would be great to have something built in with Tiller so that we can track trip-specific spending in a little bit more detail, just to give us a little bit more information, because travel is a tricky expense, in my opinion, where some expenses are incurred maybe a year in advance of the actual trip. And I want to see how much this trip is really costing me overall, rather than just looking at one given year. The spreadsheet still has the capability to look at your spending in a year. So let's jump in and look at the different features of it, starting with the travel schedule, since that is where this solution really begins. So as you can see, there are 3 columns for you to start inputting information into. The first is the start and then the end of your trip. So this is really just a long weekend over Memorial Day. The destination is Rehoboth Beach in Delaware. And the travel days and trip ID are automatically generated from this information. The trip ID is going to be used in the travel details section. And you can see that there is a drop down for each of the trip IDs that are generated right in the travel details section. So as you're filling in different trips, let's say I'm adding in another scheduled for August until September 10th to Spain. You can see that I have 2 weeks of travel days that are added on. I have my unique trip ID, and I have the Spain option to attribute to different expenses that I'm going to flesh out over on the travel details section. So we have an expense column and a budget column that are editable fully by you. We don't have any drop downs for it because we want to keep it open-ended, since trips might have some unique types of expenses attributed to them. You're going to fill in the expense and budget section, and then from there a tag is generated. So this is a unique tag that you are going to use to tag different transactions that you have. Similarly to those of you who use the holiday gift planner, you are going to use this tag section to go into the transaction page and tag the different expenses that apply to that trip. So I've only tagged 2 of them. The first one being a boat rental. So a check was paid to a boat agency where a boat is going to be rented in advance of the trip. I booked my Airbnb as well, so I've tagged that. The transportation and food expenses are going to just be incurred in the week or the weekend that I'm going to be traveling, so in May. So that won't come up yet. But let's see where we are with the travel planner right now. So right now we have selected our trips by trip ID. So this is the option that you want to choose if you want to look at one specific trip. You can select by the year and then have a different view. So if we had year and we selected 2022, it will tell you that I have 2 trips over 18 days. I've just really budgeted my Rehoboth Beach vacation. But if I had some additional Spain expenses here, those will flow through as well. And you'll see the grayed out is really just to distinguish this one from the previous one. And then if you go back to the trip ID and select the Rehoboth one, you can see the trip, the total travel days, my budgeted amount, what I've actually spent, and what's available to spend. And from my transaction page, you can see the actual spending flowing through, as well as you can see an available section just for each expense where you're at, you can track. So this is the travel planner spreadsheet. I hope you guys enjoy it. Feel free to reach out with any suggestions or questions, and tune into the webinar that we have later in February. All right, I hope you guys enjoy it. Take care.